I don't know what to say. The buddy cop dynamic was so short-lived that it is hard to think. Hello, namaskar, welcome, swagatam. You're watching Tinsel Talk, where I share my views on the latest movies and TV shows. With the much awaited third episode of Loki, I have this bittersweet feeling that is hard to shake. But before moving ahead, here is a solid spoiler warning. So if you don't want to know anything about Loki, the series, all 3 episodes that have aired so far, you have been warned. You should go watch the episodes before coming back to watch this video. And while you're at it, please subscribe to the channel as well. It helps me to keep more content coming your way. The third episode of Disney Plus Marvel series Loki was a mixed bag. After the first 2 episodes of pure and unadulterated fun, the exposition heavy third episode was a bit of a letdown. But that is not to say that the episode was bad. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it 3 times, but I am getting ahead of myself. Let us start at the beginning. At the beginning of episode 3, there is a small scene which struck me as being out of place. A really normal scene apparently in a beach restaurant with 2 friends having margaritas. As different that scene was from the overall feel and theme of the series so far, it was cleverly done. A clever demonstration of the enchanting power of the female variant. Loki succeeds in thwarting the variant's plan by transporting the both of them to a different, altogether new planet called Lamentis 1. Now here is another clever part. The moment this transport happened, it struck me as odd that Loki would transport them to such a place without knowing the place or even knowing how to use that tempad properly. But it was cleverly explained away with one small thing. The location was actually saved on the device, and that makes sense. The whole series so far, we are already at the halfway point. It is filled with events and incidents which are cleverly integrated with the story and not just coincidentally occurring because the plot demands it. Anyway, at this new planet, Lamentis 1, which is at the brink of collapse, we learn that the variant female is indeed Loki, but goes by the name of Sylvie. Let us take a pause here. The internet had already exploded with the speculations of who this female character would be the moment it was announced that Sophia di Martino would be playing a major role in this series. Whether she would be a time-displaced, gender-swapped version of Loki, or would she play Amora the Enchantress? It was not known. With her reveal as the variant that the TVA was looking for, well, it became a bit clearer as to what her role would be. And now that the episode 3 has clarified the character of Sylvie and also given hints of her having magical powers of a different variety and also having a similar adopted childhood as the original Loki has had, we can dispense with the speculations and move on. The back and forth between Loki and Sylvie is the highlight of this episode. At the beginning, while we have the 2 Lokis antagonizing each other, by the time the episode ends, they are working together. But that was obvious, it was bound to happen. So we will not talk about their chemistry and how they came to trust each other, albeit temporarily. But as I said, I felt a bit let down by the episode. Here is why. The comedy in this episode was a bit stretched, if you know what I mean. The episode's focus was on developing a bond between Loki and Sylvie, and what better setup to explore this dynamic than an apocalyptic ruin of a planet on the brink of destruction. The omen of impending catastrophe lends itself well to the emotional bond between Loki and Sylvie as they explore each other's childhood. But the comedy, especially the part with them trying to get on the train, was cheesy and altogether bad. It didn't even feel like Loki was trying to impress Sylvie. It was just pointless. Anyway, moving on to the more serious part. Both Loki and Sylvie want to meet the timekeepers. They have different plans on what they would do when they confront them, but that is their common ultimate goal, which is the link between Loki and Sylvie. In episode 1, we saw Loki's transition from absolute disbelief to the awe of acceptance about the power of the time variance authority. Now Sylvie revealed one small detail about the TVA that shook Loki's faith again. That reveal is a major plot point of the series, so proceed with caution. This label will remain here until we discuss this point. If that point was simply spoken, it could have triggered a suspicion in our minds that maybe Sylvie was lying. But that reveal ties up with the very first odd scene of this episode and tells us that the agents of TVA were normal people before joining the TVA. Now, we, as well as Loki, had come to believe that the TVA agents were in fact created by the mighty beings, the Timekeepers. This revelation that the people working in the TVA were simply people, that throws that belief down the drain. It poses another question. Was Mobius and most of the TVA agents that Loki had interacted with lying, or were they all actually brainwashed and they didn't know where they came from before being inducted into the band of time soldiers? Loki seems to believe the latter, but we shall see. This small and simple point leads to the whole myriad of new theories and speculations. A surprise appearance by Kang the Conqueror is still possible. Also, the possibility that the three timekeepers are actually not real but some story created by the mastermind behind this grand illusion of the TVA that can't be ruled out yet. We all remembered what happened with the hyped Mandarin in Iron Man 3, don't we?
This is the Mandarin?
I know, it's embarrassing.
Hi, Trevor. Trevor Slattery.
Anyway, moving on. Loki and Sylvie's last-ditch effort of getting away from the impending doom brought an action-filled few minutes in the climax of the episode, but all apparently in vain. And that cliffhanger of Loki and Sylvie stuck on Lamentis 1 with no escape brings us to the end of this episode, with nothing to do but watch and re-watch the episode until the next one is aired. Now, I must say, a new planet with an apocalyptic destruction ahead means a lot of visual effects and lot of green screen acting by the actors. This is the second thing where this episode lets me down. While most of the effects were real MCU quality, there was actually too much going on. This episode would have been a treat to watch on the big screen of a movie theater for the sheer scale of the visuals. But the visuals were not as perfect as I hoped for. The green screen was too obvious in one of the crucial scenes where Loki and Sylvie were talking. That brought me out of the scene, away from the character moments, rather picking apart the weird lighting mismatch between the background and the actors. Sophia di Martino brings a whole new dimension to the series. Her character Sylvie and Loki could not have been any more different, and that contrast is all the more obvious from her British accent. I enjoyed her casting, and I'm sure whatever she brings to the series in the coming episodes will be epic. The only thing that I didn't like in her character was her cape. Her cape and hood sell a narrative of someone well versed in the art of staying in the shadows and wreaking havoc. But once we have seen her in the light, and what's more, she has some kicks and flips and fisticuffs on the display in this episode, well, it is very quickly apparent that the hood and the cape don't suit her active personality. The fight scenes she is in seem all the more impractical due to her flowing cape. That is one of the few major gripes I had with this episode, the episode 3 of Loki. I am anticipating more elaborate schemes and jaw-dropping visuals and mind-blowing reveals from the series in the weeks to come. Until then, all we can do is wait. What do you think? Do you think the dynamic of Loki and Sylvie will take a physical or a romantic turn in the future? Let me know your thoughts. If you liked this video, please do leave a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. And if you don't agree with my opinions or simply wish to speak your mind, jump right down the comment section to let me know. As always, I am eagerly looking forward to your feedback and comments. This is all from my side for today. I'll be back next week with my thoughts about the next episode, the episode 4 of Loki. Do join me on Discord or other social media platforms from the links in the description box to have more discussion about Loki and all that is MCU. This is Dr. Abhinav Atul signing off. It is my pride and privilege to be able to connect with you through this video. Namaskar. While you're still on YouTube, how about you check out this video which YouTube thinks you would like, or check out my WandaVision series discussion.